Most people think band music looks dramatic. Police raids, government warnings, angry politicians on television. But honestly, that's usually not how it happens. Most of the time, the song just starts disappearing. One station quietly stops playing it. A retailer suddenly decides not to stock the album anymore. The broadcaster pushes the record to 1 a.m, where almost nobody hears it. No explanation. No public statement. Just silence slowly swallowing the music whole. And in the 1970s, that kind of silence ruined careers. Because the closer soul music got to uncomfortable truths about race, sex, politics, addiction, poverty, and power, the more nervous certain people became. Tonight, we're looking at 12 R&B records they tried to suppress during the golden age of soul music. And by the end of this list, you're going to realize something painful. Some of the greatest artists of that era didn't survive because the industry protected them. They survived because listeners refused to let them disappear. 12. Marvin Gaye, Let's Get It On. It's strange how harmless this song feels now. People hear Let's Get It On, and at weddings, in movies, everywhere, and forget how intimate it actually sounded in 1973. But late at night, with headphones on, Marvin Gaye still sounds almost painfully exposed here. Not lustful. Exposed. The song moves slowly, confidently, like it already knows it has your attention. Nothing feels rushed or fake. Marvin sounds sensual, vulnerable, and emotionally open all at once, which honestly wasn't common for mainstream black male artists at the time. Released through Tamla Motown and produced by Marvin Gaye alongside Ed Townsend, the song became one of the biggest records of the decade. But before radio fully embraced it, some conservative stations reportedly hesitated to play it heavily during daytime hours. Not because it was vulgar. Because it felt too emotionally direct. And that's what made people uncomfortable. Marvin wasn't hiding behind metaphor anymore. The record blurred the line between sexuality and spirituality so naturally that it almost felt sacred. That honesty changed soul music forever. And the next song proved very quickly that once music started empowering people openly, the backlash became political. 11. The Staple Singers, Respect Yourself.
If you disrespect,
Some songs feel bigger than entertainment the second they begin. Respect Yourself is one of those records. The moment Mavis Staples starts singing, the atmosphere changes. She doesn't sound like somebody asking for dignity. She sounds like somebody reminding you that you should already have it.
if you don't give a heck about the man with
Released in 1971 through Stax Records and produced by Al Bell, the song arrived during a tense moment in American history. Civil rights laws had changed, but inequality still shaped everyday life across the country.
you the kind of gentleman that won't.
So when this record hit radio, people heard more than music. They heard a statement. And statements made certain broadcasters nervous. Some southern stations reportedly delayed adding the song into rotation or reduced its airplay entirely.
Respect yourself.
Not through dramatic public bans, just quieter forms of resistance that were much harder to challenge directly.
Respect yourself.
That's what made this kind of censorship dangerous. It stayed invisible.
Respect yourself. Ain't nobody gonna give a
And Stax Records understood exactly why the song mattered. The label believed soul music could strengthen communities emotionally and politically, not just entertain them for 3 minutes.
respect yourself.
Because once music reminds people of their worth, it becomes much harder to control how they see themselves afterward. And the next artist frightened people for sounding too emotionally certain. Real quick, thank you for being here. Every view, every comment, Every subscriber genuinely helps keep R&B Vault alive. We're on the road to 2,000 subscribers before June 2026, so if you love these stories and the music behind them, hit subscribe. It really means a lot to the channel. And if you want to go even deeper with R&B Vault, you can become a member and stay ahead with exclusive perks and content. Now, let's get back to the video. 10. I'm Gonna Tear Your Playhouse Down. You know what's scarier than somebody screaming? Somebody calm. That's the energy Ann Peebles brings to this record. Released in 1973 on High Records and produced by Willie Mitchell, I'm Gonna Tear Your Playhouse Down doesn't sound like heartbreak. It sounds like somebody who already processed the pain and came back colder. Ann Peebles barely raises her voice during the song, but somehow that restraint makes the performance even more intimidating. She sounds completely certain of herself, and honestly, that confidence unsettled people. The record tells the story of betrayal, but unlike many relationship songs from that era, Peebles refuses to sound helpless. Emotionally, she's already ahead of the person who hurt her. That kind of confidence coming from a black female artist during the early 70s genuinely made certain broadcasters uncomfortable. Several radio programmers reportedly considered the song too aggressive for heavy rotation. And during that era, words like aggressive often carried coded meaning when attached to black women. What makes the song brilliant is how controlled it feels. Ann isn't raging. She sounds resolved. And maybe that emotional certainty was exactly what made the song so threatening at the time. 9. The Al Green, Back Up Train.
Back up the train.
Before Al Green became smooth and legendary, he sounded hungry. You can hear it all over Back Up Train. The production feels rough around the edges compared to his later work, but honestly, that rawness gives the song its power. It sounds like ambition before success fully arrives. Recorded in 1967 and released through the tiny independent label Hotline Music Journal, the record became a regional hit years before Green exploded commercially through High Records. Then things got complicated. Once Al Green became a superstar, ownership disputes surrounding his earlier recordings suddenly became financially important. Rights issues, licensing conflicts, and distribution problems started surrounding material recorded long before fame arrived. And honestly, this wasn't unusual. A lot of black artists entered the music business without lawyers, leverage, or proper protection. Small contracts signed early in their careers often became traps later. That's what makes this story bigger than Al Green himself. The people creating the music were not always the people controlling it. Green survived the industry better than many artists did. But Back Up Train still carries scars from a system that frequently profited from black creativity while failing to protect black artists themselves. And the next song became controversial because people completely misunderstood its message. 8. The first time I really listened to Pusherman alone at night, the song honestly made me uneasy. Not because it glorified drugs, because it understood the world surrounding them too well. Released in 1972 as part of the Superfly soundtrack, the song became one of Curtis Mayfield's defining works. And the fact that he wrote, arranged, produced, and performed the soundtrack himself still feels incredible when you think about it. The record sounds hypnotic, almost seductive. Like it's quietly pulling you into a dangerous environment before you fully realize what's happening. And that was intentional. Curtis understood that if listeners were going to understand the psychology of the streets, The music itself needed to feel immersive first. But underneath the groove is something deeply sad. The narrator isn't powerful. He's trapped. The song explores poverty, addiction, desperation, and survival inside neglected communities without simplifying any of it into easy morality. Unfortunately, many broadcasters ignored that complexity completely. Some stations accused the record of promoting drug culture and restricted it heavily. But Curtis Mayfield wasn't celebrating destruction. He was documenting it. And that honesty made people uncomfortable because the song forced listeners to confront realities they preferred pretending didn't exist. And the next record reveals what happened when politics entered the music directly. 7. James Brown, King Heroin.
Fellow Americans, Lady America.
This is where the list stops feeling nostalgic. Because King Heroin is genuinely unsettling to listen to. Released in 1972 through Polydor Records, the song arrived during a period when heroin addiction was devastating Black communities across America.
Go in your vein. He said, I came to this country.
The Nixon administration had declared war on drugs, and public pressure around addiction was growing fast. James Brown became one of the artists pulled into that conversation. But unlike most anti-drug songs from that era, King Heroin doesn't sound inspirational. It sounds cold, heavy, almost frightening.
Use me once, and you'll know it too.
Brown delivers the lyrics like a warning being read aloud in the middle of the night. The song is written from the perspective of heroin itself as it slowly destroys lives, families, and entire neighborhoods.
For a $5 bag. Some think my adventures are joy.
There's nothing glamorous about it. But over the years, people questioned why the record was made in the first place. Some believed Brown genuinely wanted to address addiction publicly. Others felt political and industry pressure may have influenced the song's creation.
Take it, and I'm legal inside. I take my addict.
The truth probably lives somewhere in the middle. What is documented, however, is that the record appeared in schools, anti-drug campaigns, and community programs in ways that blurred the line between music and public messaging.
So be you Italian, Jewish.
And honestly, that says a lot about the era itself. Because even James Brown wasn't bigger than the systems operating around him.
Keep up your habit until your arrest.
6. Millie Jackson, It Hurts So Good.
First you take my heart in the palm of your hands and you squeeze it.
Millie Jackson sounded like somebody who stopped pretending. And honestly, that made her dangerous. It Hurts So Good, released in 1973 through Spring Records, feels less like a polished love song and more like overhearing brutally honest conversation after midnight. Funny, messy, painful, real.
I'm not complaining. What you're doing, you see.
Millie never expressed emotion the way the industry expected women to express it. She wasn't passive or emotionally delicate just to make audiences comfortable. She sounded human. And mainstream radio honestly didn't know what to do with that.
Ooh, take my name.
Several stations restricted or refused the song because they considered Millie's material too provocative. But underneath that criticism was something deeper.
Turn right around and make
A lot of people simply weren't comfortable hearing a Black woman express desire, frustration, and vulnerability without apologizing for it.
baby. Shown up good to me.
Millie Jackson spoke directly, sometimes brutally directly. That frightened people. But ironically, that honesty became exactly why audiences connected with her so deeply. Her performances felt conversational, almost like somebody venting honestly at the kitchen table instead of performing for applause. You believed her.
Ooh, baby. Ooh, oh.
And maybe that's why Millie Jackson still feels ahead of her time now. She wasn't trying to sound polished. She was trying to sound true. And the next record crossed lines internationally with just one lyric.
Even though sometimes
5. Isaac Hayes, theme from Shaft. Some songs introduce themselves. Others walk into the room like they already own it. Theme from Shaft absolutely does the second one. That opening changed film music forever. The hi-hats, the wah-wah guitar, the orchestral build-up. Isaac Hayes entering almost casually after the instrumental already took complete control over the listener. Released in 1971 through Enterprise Records as part of the Shaft soundtrack, the song transformed Hayes from respected songwriter and producer into an international superstar. And historically, the achievement was massive. The record won the Academy Award for Best Original Song in 1972, making Isaac Hayes the first black artist to win in that category. But success didn't erase controversy. In Britain, the BBC reportedly restricted airplay because of concerns surrounding the song's sexual content, especially the famous Sex Machine lyric. Meanwhile, parts of America viewed both the film and soundtrack suspiciously because of larger debates surrounding blaxploitation cinema. To some people, Shaft represented empowerment. To others, danger. And honestly, that tension followed a lot of black popular culture during the early 70s.
I see this cat Shaft as a bad mother.
The moment black art became too stylish, too visible, or too confident, certain critics immediately started questioning its morality.
But no one understands him but his one.
And the next song became controversial because audiences couldn't separate the artist from her age. 4. Betty Wright, Tonight is the Night. Betty Wright was only 19 years old when she recorded Tonight is the Night. And somehow she delivered a performance so emotionally mature that it unsettled grown adults. The song itself is incredibly gentle, intimate without sounding vulgar, honest without sounding performative.
I can hear your car door slamming.
Betty sings with the emotional awareness of somebody much older, and that maturity became part of the controversy surrounding the record. Released in 1974 through Alston Records, the song became a major R&B success. But success arrived alongside backlash. Several stations restricted daytime airplay because of the song's theme surrounding intimacy and sexual experience. Listener complaints focused heavily on Betty's age at the time of recording.
Tonight is the night.
And while some criticism was framed as moral concern, a lot of it felt like discomfort. Discomfort with a young black woman expressing emotional and physical agency on her own terms. What makes the song remarkable is how tender it actually sounds. Betty never sensationalizes the subject matter. The vulnerability inside her voice is what gives the record its emotional power.
Just can't keep still.
And history eventually proved her right. The song became timeless, sampled, and referenced across generations because the emotional honesty inside it never aged. But the next entry became politically explosive the second it reached the public. 3. The revolution will not be televised.
You will not be able to stay home, brother.
This isn't just a song, it's a warning. Released in 1970 through Flying Dutchman Records, The Revolution Will Not Be Televised barely resembles traditional radio music at all. Sparse percussion, spoken word delivery, no catchy chorus, just truth.
By John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws.
And that truth made the record politically explosive. Gil Scott-Heron dissected the relationship between media, politics, advertising, and black life in America with frightening clarity.
The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised.
He argued that real change would never arrive packaged neatly as entertainment controlled by powerful institutions.
From 29 districts, the revolution will not be televised.
Commercial radio wanted absolutely no part of that conversation. Stations rejected the record publicly by claiming it didn't fit radio formatting standards. Too spoken word, too unconventional, too long, but everybody understood the real issue, the politics.
Black and green liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving for just the proper occasion.
Playing the record felt like taking a side, and many broadcasters during the early 70s were unwilling to amplify anything openly challenging corporate media narratives or government power structures. Ironically, the resistance only made the song more powerful.
And Jackie Onassis blowing her nose.
The record became foundational to conscious rap and politically charged hip-hop for decades afterward. Artists from Public Enemy to Common openly acknowledged Gil Scott-Heron's influence. The industry tried to sideline the song. Instead, it became scripture. And the next record sounded beautiful while quietly hiding bitterness underneath. 2. The OJS Backstabbers.
What they do, they slide it in your face.
Backstabbers. Sounds elegant. That's part of what makes it dangerous. The strings are beautiful. The harmonies are smooth. The production feels luxurious. And then you actually listen to the lyrics. Released in 1972 through Philadelphia International Records and produced by Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff, the song became one of the defining records of the Philadelphia soul movement. But underneath the sophistication is paranoia, distrust, betrayal, social commentary. On the surface, the song describes fake friends smiling in your face while secretly undermining you. But listeners understood the metaphor stretched much further than personal relationships. Communities were being failed by institutions claiming to protect them. And certain broadcasters heard that implication immediately. Some stations reportedly hesitated before adding the record into heavy rotation because they viewed it as socially divisive or politically loaded, which is fascinating because the production sounds almost luxurious. That contrast is exactly what makes the record brilliant. The beauty becomes camouflage for the bitterness underneath. And honestly, that duality defines some of the greatest soul music ever recorded. But number one is different. Because this isn't just the story of a controversial song. It's the story of an artist the industry quietly abandoned. 1. Doris Duke, The Other Woman. Most casual R&B fans still don't know Doris Duke the way they should. And honestly, that failure belongs to the industry more than it belongs to listeners.
They're only trying to help me, so I won't mess up my life.
Because Doris Duke had one of the most emotionally devastating voices in Southern soul music. To the Other Woman, released in 1970 through Canyon Records and recorded at Muscle Shoals Sound Studio, feels painfully intimate. Duke sings from the perspective of a woman involved with somebody else's partner, but the brilliance of the song is that she refuses to simplify the situation into easy morality. She doesn't portray herself as evil. She doesn't beg for sympathy. She simply tells the truth. And in 1970, that kind of emotional honesty made certain broadcasters uncomfortable. The song faced resistance in markets where programmers considered its subject matter morally questionable. Again, not through dramatic public bans. Through quieter forms of exclusion that slowly limited the audience the record could reach. But Doris Duke's story goes much deeper than one controversial song. She released one major album, I'm a Loser, now considered by many collectors and historians to be one of the greatest Southern soul albums ever recorded. One album, that's all. Then, industry neglect, personal struggles, and lack of support slowly pushed her away from music while the album itself faded into obscurity. And honestly, that's what makes her story the saddest one on this list. Not censorship, abandonment.
Always be his wife.
The music industry of the 1970s created incredible beauty, but it also caused real damage. Some artists survived the system, others disappeared inside it. And sometimes the exact same industry making money from the music was also limiting how far that music could travel. That's what this countdown has really been about. Not just banned songs, control, silence, and the artists who kept singing anyway. Because eventually, great music always finds its audience, even if the world tried to bury it first.